something very interesting. We talk about the skin. You know how you write in Hebrew skin? That's how you write skin. All. And how do you write light in Hebrew? All. But different letters, different spelling. This one is with Ein, one is with Aleph, and both of them sound the same. One is numerical value 207, and one is numerical value 276. What's the difference? 69. All skin, all light, 207, 276, the difference is 69. What's the difference between the skin that we have today versus the skin that Adam had before the sin? Anybody remember from the Zohar? Yes. So Adam's skin was light. He was totally surrounded with his skin of the entire body, his cover of the entire body was made from nail basically, was hard and was shining and was reflecting. And it's considered to be, his skin was actually all with Aleph, like light. It was light, it was shining. And it says after the sin, when we went down to the 1% world, when the snake became part of our life, when the Satan became part of our, issues, so all of us got the skin of the snake on us. That's the skin of the snake. And one of the differences between Adam's skin versus the skin that we have today, if somebody massaging your back, you just feel pleasure in that particular area, isn't it? Because the skin of the snake within us is fragmented, it's all separated. During other time, if you would touch here, it will affect the entire body. That's the Kabbalist Ben Ish Chai speaks about it, okay? It touched the entire, why? Because it's the power of oneness. The skin of the light versus the skin of the snake. The skin is a code name for fragmentation. So that's the difference now. And again, the skin connecting to our surrounding light. The skin connecting to the words that we creating out there. Now what's interesting is the numerical value of the difference between the skin that's causing chaos in our life, the fragmented skin, the one self alone skin, versus the light skin is 69, which is the numerical value of the word yagon. Yagon means sadness and sorrow. So basically, and that's what we'll get to the main point, so the main cause of sorrow and sadness in our life is actually the energy that's represented by the skin. And now we need to understand it. As we said before, skin corresponds to surrounding light. Skin to respond to motivation, to goal. That's my surrounding energy. Words connected to my surrounding energy. So, if we look for a second, because yagon means it's a strong word for sadness and for sorrow in our life, from down. If we're looking, what makes a person happy? What's more, state of happiness is when you just accomplish something that you wanted, or when you constantly in a motivated state. What would you say makes a person long-term happy? Motivated state. When we're busy motivated, it's our surrounding light is pushing us forward. That's energy of happiness. When I'm not motivated, even though I accomplish what I wanted, it will be temporary happiness, but major fear about what's going to be next, what's going to be tomorrow. It's not energy of happiness. Maybe it's hoarding things, accomplishing things, holding things, but it's happiness and fear. It's not really continuous joy. Continuous joy comes from continuous motivation. Motivation is the whole idea of how to connect to that surrounding light. The protection that we get this week, the energy that we get this week, to that energy of motivation. Imagine somebody is criticizing you. How many of us can easily feel that we can collapse when somebody is criticizing our character completely? At some point, with a person that you really respect and you hope for. Crushed. Because again, in our civilization in generally, We used to crush ourselves all the time in our mind, and the insecurity is there. And when somebody adding to it, it's very easily can bring us into sadness. But the Kabbalah is teaching actually why a person is crushed when he's criticized. Because he doesn't have big goals and doesn't think big about life, not just about business and stuff. Doesn't have big goals about himself, doesn't have big goals about accomplishing and raising and growing. Because if I have a huge motivation to accomplish changes, changing myself, affecting change in the world, reaching elevated state, then I'm crushed, but I look in this as part of my opportunity, get rid of the ego, accomplishing my goals, great. But if all my goal in life is just to be perceived good by me and by others, I'll be crushed. And I have to say that every time we are crushed by criticism, it's indication my desire is too small. I'm thinking too small and too limited. The difference between animal and a human being, that human being can have elevated goals, elevated desires. You know, to have control, to have more money, to have more power. Animals in their own ways, they have that desire. Desire to accomplish great heights as far as changing myself to a degree of being free of my garbage and making a huge difference was given to human beings and not to animals. So the whole idea of the skin that we have, it's not just the physical skin that we're speaking about. It's actually is the spiritual aura, is the surrounding light, which all begin with the power of words. Words that we're saying or not saying. Evil tongue that we're speaking or not speaking. Opportunity to speak good when I'm not. It says in the Zohar in verse 72, the true rebuke comes, or criticism of a friend comes when inside I have love, and outside it might appear tough, but you try to do as loving as possible. What happened with most people and most relationships? Inside resentment, outside faking it. And then it comes out as vomit outside when it's too much. And the whole idea of anger and resentment very often comes when I'm building that stuff that I feel towards others and I'm not expressing it. And the idea, and it's part of building my own skin, my own surrounding light, my own protection shield, my own motivation force. How does it feel when I say something it's difficult for me to say and I'm breaking it and I'm communicating and I'm trying to do it with love, not just with just jumping at the person and feeling righteous, you're wrong and I'm right. And you're afraid to do it, but we do it anyway. How does it feel as far as motivation, strength, energy? How does it feel for ourselves personally? Is it freeing experience or is it a blocking experience? Very freeing. It's actually our surrounding light becomes stronger. We are so affected by others, people words. Think about it. We speak about the skin of the snake versus the skin of Adam. And how so easily all of us, by somebody tell us something, that words that express they believe in us, give us energy and strength. We're so vulnerable with our skin. And when sometimes they're putting us down, we're so crushed ourselves. The power of words is the power of the surrounding. Instead of waiting for the outside to be the one to build me or to put me down, it's all about proactively starting to realize that the power of my words in everything that I do, making the difference.